So I ordered this about 3 months ago, and it finally came in last night. And you're probably wondering why I'm sitting on top of a mountain on a rock unboxing this. And that's because I'm in the middle of another video, and just how it happened, I happened to be here and I didn't have time this morning or yesterday to open it, so let's see what's in the box. It is the new Canon R5. So now let's see what's in here. So what's in the box? Paper, manual. There's your cables, battery charger, battery, strap, oh, that's nice, and a brand new camera. So, is this camera gonna make me a better photographer? No. Is this camera gonna help me make better pictures and videos? Yes. This camera is a huge upgrade from my Canon 7D that's over 10 years old. The differences go on forever. It has a full frame sensor, and that's a much bigger sensor. In the camera world, bigger is better. It has IBIS, in-body image stabilizing system, something. It has the newest and best autofocus, much more precise and fast. It can shoot in 8K and slow motion. It has more megapixels, which means I could print bigger prints, better quality prints. It shoots a lot more frames per second, and I can go on forever. How much technology has improved over the last 10 years, it's unbelievable. There's a story about an author that I heard recently, and he wanted to get his portrait taken. So he hired a professional, very famous photographer. And when he met with the photographer, he said, "You must have a really nice camera. I've seen a lot of your work." So the photographer looks at him and tells him, "I've read some of your books. You must have an amazing typewriter." So just like anything else, a camera is just a tool. It's about how you use it. It's about what you do, what you make with the tools you have. Sometimes you need a bigger tool. And I'm both excited and kind of freaked out about this new camera, because it's gonna set a new standard for me. I'm not gonna have any more excuses. If something is out of focus, if I'm out of frame, if my video is jittery, I don't have excuses anymore. I have the newest technology, the best I can afford. And it's a little scary. So this camera is going to force me to become a better photographer and a videographer. The camera is not going to do that for me, but it's going to raise my standards. It's going to set my bar much higher, and it's going to make me work much harder to get to that level that I want to be at. All right, that's it. I'm going to put the battery in, put a new memory card, and go test this thing out, see how it does. So that didn't work out. I was in the middle of making another video when I received this package. So I forgot to bring the lens I bought for this camera, the lens converter from EF to RF, and the memory card. So I couldn't use the camera the day I unboxed it on top of that mountain. I came up with a new test. I'm gonna show you this 2-minute video, and then I'll explain how the test was performed and what I learned from this 2-minute clip.
Ouch, ma'am. Yeehaw!
So first of all, this is the first time I ever used the R5 for videos or pictures. I used it mainly with the 70-200 lens. It's an EF lens, which I adapted with this Canon EF to RF adapter. It's $100, and it worked fine. It was. I didn't notice anything different from that camera to any other camera I've used. For the wide angle shots, I used the 24-70 2.8, which is the native lens for this this camera system. Now, as far as the camera itself, being that it was my first time using it, at first it was a little intimidating because it has a lot of options, a lot of buttons. I'm coming from 10-year-old technology, the Canon 7D, and that was very analog. The R5 is very digital. But after using it for 20 minutes or so, it was very comfortable. All the buttons are in the same place. It just has a lot more and a lot more options than I'm used to. As far as my first impression with this camera, the video is awesome. The autofocusing, the tracking, the 4K at 60 frames a second or 4K at 120 frames a second. It even has 8K. Now, I didn't use 8K because I didn't see a need to use it. Plus, it eats up memory like you can't even believe. It's just good to know that if I ever needed it, I have the option. But for this video, everything was shot at 60 frames a second in 4K. And in 20 minutes, I filled up 128 gigabytes. Now that's a lot of memory for 20 minutes. That's gonna make me think before I click. Prep the scene, set it up, do it properly. That way I won't go through so much storage. As far as the video quality and the focus tracking, I shot everything at 2.8. And that's because I wanted to see how jittery or how fast or how accurate the autofocusing was. And there's a few places where it missed, but that's because I'm shooting miniatures. These are just little toys, and it actually did really well. The camera performed awesome. It was just my settings weren't optimal to make a cinematic video here, but that's not what I was going for. I was shooting a test. As far as picture quality, the image quality from this camera, I don't know. I use Adobe Lightroom Classic 6.1, I think it is. This software will not read CR3 files, which is the Canon raw images from this camera. So I can't upload my pictures. I can't download pictures from the camera to Lightroom. I ended up downloading Adobe's converter, and I went from CR3 to DNG, and then uploading the DNG files into Lightroom. But I can't compare side by side to see what the difference is, to see if there's any loss in quality or not. But for what I can tell with these images, they're awesome. If anybody knows how to upload CR3 files into an older version of Lightroom without having to update and use everything in the cloud, because I don't always have that option, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you know another way instead of having to go CR3 to DNG to Lightroom. If there is an easier way, please let me know, because I'll be interested. Anyway, that's all for right now. I'm gonna keep practicing, keep making mistakes, keep using the camera until I learn every single aspect of it. And I'm gonna leave you with some pictures, some images that I took with this camera that, again, they were imported to DNGs and then to JPEGs. And I'll just I'll show you some examples of how the camera performs. It does great with dynamic range and high ISO. So I think it's a great tool, and I'm gonna use it to the max. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please click that like button and subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you next time. Bye.